Good afternoon. It's been a long summer. I'm glad we're here. And I want to say that it would not have happened had it not been for the prodding and the encouragement and the support of shipmate Bob Smith. Give it away, Bob. Bob called me from his home in Missouri and said, you know, you suggested that we do something to recognize Billy 5 years ago in Kansas City. Isn't it about time? And it was Memorial Day, and that's when this thing started. Bob's been with me every step of the way, calling me, pushing me, prodding me, telling me. Now, of course, he's a school teacher, so everything I said out that was spelled wrong, he told me about that too. But we got there. Thank you, Bob. And most of the submariners that are here today happen to be members of the United States Submarine Veterans Incorporated. We call it, we just simply say USSVI, but that might be strange to some visitors here. So when you hear that, that's the organization that is now 13,500 men strong that have served in submarines, qualified in submarines in the United States Navy. I would also like to introduce Billy's Henry Clay Gold Crew commissioning crew shipmates that were at sea with Billy the day we lost him 45 years ago tomorrow. Joe Mullen, Mose Rainey, Charlie Young, and Jimmy Null, and of course yours truly. Another guest here today that served with Billy on the USS Amberjack is Joe Bloomer. And Joe's up here in the back. And Joe is currently serving as the commanding officer of USSVI's Philadelphia base. And I wish to acknowledge my brothers in the Capitol base. Art Chaplain Glover is Commander Glover, commander of the Capital City base. We've got the ex-commander Mike Naughton behind him.
Ex-commander.
Hi, Tom. I didn't even see you come in. You just snuck in on me. Tom Denton, also the national artist for submarine veterans. Who else do we have? Carl Robinson up in the back doing the filming. And thanks for being here, guys. It means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to the Semones family. Ladies and gentlemen, and brothers of the Finn, 45 years ago, we lost our friend and brother in a stormy winter sea near Rota, Spain. Billy gave his life in the performance of his duties. He was attempting to go on deck to secure a line locker on the Polaris nuclear submarine Henry Clay. It was banging and interfering with our ability to hear with our forward sonar array. He never made it to the sail, or he never made it to the deck from the sail. A wave in a terrible Atlantic Sea swept him overboard. Russian trawlers, loaded with sophisticated electronics and sonar gear, were ever present near our submarine bases at Rota, waiting to listen, record, identify, and track United States submarines. I believe that owing to the secrecy of submarine operations and the involvement of the Russians, Billy's death was never openly or widely acknowledged so as not to draw attention to the Henry Clay's identity. Billy was a hero doing a dangerous job. We as shipmates, his family and friends will never forget that terrible day. Finally, today we get to recognize him as he should have been in perpetuity. Billy's death was a powerful influence in my life. I'll never forget the day we lost him. As a 20-year-old, I had some skewed idea of mortality. I was invincible. Losing Billy was my wake-up call to the reality of our profession and the danger of the sea. I was profoundly lost in a sea of despair at losing a leader, a friend, a shipmate. And I've carried those feelings all these years. 5 years ago, I spoke up at a reunion, Henry Clay reunion, and suggested we ought to do something to remember Billy properly. Others at the reunion, including Bob Smith, agreed. So when Bob called me on Memorial Day this year and said, you know, it's about time, let's get this thing done. And so I took it as a sacred trust to honor Billy today. With the help and encouragement from Bob, I began to find and contact Henry Clay crew members. I found his family, his sister, Betty Sue, and her husband, Ronald Whitaker. Ron was in the Navy with Billy on the Amberjack, qualified submariner who served with Billy in Key West, Florida in the 50s. I received dozens of calls and emails, and quickly they melded into a complete story of what actually happened that day. Pardon me. They also told the story of the despair of a crew who performed valiantly but had failed. The emotions expressed were still raw today, and I came to realize that I wasn't alone in the need for closure. I wasn't alone with my feelings. Everyone I spoke to felt the same way about the despair of losing Billy and the long overdue need to approach him with the honor that he deserved. Billy's family has now become part of the Henry Clay family, and they have come to realize that Billy had two families that cared for him. In fact, when Billy Carter Semones was published, the Billy Carter Semones story was published in the American Submariner magazine. We had a wonderful response from his USS Amberjack crewmates and his USS Sharp shipmates. I think that kind of a response and the esteem that his friends had for him speaks volumes about what kind of a guy Billy was. He was a great guy and a loyal friend. A veteran, whether active, retired, reserve, or guard, is someone who at one point in his life made out a blank check payable to the United States of America for an amount up to and including his life. All paid some, and some paid all. Billy paid all. It's my fervent wish today that we'll do justice to Billy's sacrifice by honoring him in the manner that we are today. Thank you, and God bless you, Billy. Sailor, rest your horse.